In what could be seen as a bit of possible damage control, actress Jodie Foster is giving Gen Z their props. And it's all because of one simple word. Hey, what up there, Forward Up Newsies? Glad to be back with you. And yeah, Hollywood legend, icon, Jodie Foster is giving Generation Z their props. Something that was a little bit of a surprise given her previous statements on the generation. So let's get into it. The conversation happened during a Hollywood Reporter roundtable with different dramatic actresses. So this included the likes of Nicole Kidman, Sofia Vergara, Jennifer Aniston, folks like that. And of course, the incomparable, legendary, Jodie Foster. And basically, they're just talking about just different things or whatever. And apparently, Jodie Foster sort of had like a little bit of a revelation regarding Gen Z. So we see here that this is a HuffPost story where she says that Gen Z has an easier time saying this one word, right? So, and that one word from the True Detective star is no. So yeah, let's get actually into the clip itself so we can sort of see what it is that she's talking about here.
Yeah. So I think you can say no was important for me for whatever reason. I didn't know that when I was young, that I could say no.
Yeah.
And maybe I think this new generation, that's what's good about this new generation, is they're very comfortable with saying no. They're very good at setting boundaries and going like, I don't like that and I want to do this. And I didn't know that was possible when I was young.
I think that what Jodie is touching on there is a really interesting point, right? We've seen here that, through a lot of the issues that some people have regarding Gen Z, it's sort of something that we see happen throughout the different generations, right? It's always like a generation or two back has an issue with the generation that, a couple generations ahead of them, right? We've seen this, the quote unquote greatest generation, as they've dubbed themselves. They probably thought that about the boomers because they thought they were all hippies and beatniks and all of that stuff. They probably thought that about, now the boomers think that millennials and Gen Z, don't really care about whatever all the stuff that they cared about, because we care about climate change and, like the earth not dying. But yeah, so this is sort of like, I think, like a story as old as time. I don't know what it is about reaching a certain age in life where we tend to forget what it was like to be younger. You know what I mean? Like you'll see somebody who's like, all of a sudden somebody hits 50 or 60 and they forget what it was like being 30, 20, 15, stuff like that. Part of why Jodie's statements here is a little extra noteworthy is because she kind of caused a little bit of a huff during a previous interview earlier in the year where she said that, quote, Gen Z is, quote, really annoying, especially in the workplace. They're like, nah, I'm not feeling it today, which was kind of unfair. It was unfair. But again, like we just said, this has happened throughout the different generations and whatnot. But yeah, she did say that she thought that Gen Z was kind of annoying to work with. She had told the Guardian outlet that, quote, they're like, nah, I'm not feeling it today. I'm going to come in at 10:30 a.m. or like in emails, I'll tell them that this is all grammatically incorrect. Did you not check your spelling? And they're like, why would I do that? Isn't that kind of limiting? Now, no, I highly doubt. Well, let me not poo-poo on what her experiences may or may not have been, but I feel like Gen Z kids in the overwhelming majority know to use spell check, right? To say that they don't is just like probably not accurate. But it is, Gen Z they say no more, right? More than any working generation, right? And then I think next in line behind that would be millennials. And I think that what she's experienced both in the negative aspects, but then also, I guess, in this new positive context, is that she's realizing that, like she said, she didn't know that she could say no to certain things back when she was young, right? She didn't know that she could set boundaries at work, because that's not what a capitalist, if I'm being completely transparent, completely honest, a white supremacist capitalist country will tell you, a misogynist country will tell you, is that you don't have the option to say no. If you want this money, if you want this bread, if you want to live, you want to survive, you want a house, you want a car, and not even just that though. That like, you have to work crazy hours. You can't say no. If your boss wants to email you at 2:00 in the morning on a Thursday night, well, guess what? You just better go ahead and answer that email, because you're lucky to even be here. And that's especially true in industries like the industry that Jodie is in, right? As you've seen, these producers, executives and stuff will use the whole thing of like, well, there's somebody else that will take your place. If you don't take this job for this amount of money, then I'll find somebody else to do it. Or they might say, use that mentality and take that into abuse, right? The whole Me Too movement, even though Me Too is about more than just Hollywood, about women in all industries and marginalized, sexually marginalized people in all industries. But we've seen how Hollywood will use the you can't say no and use that in situations of abuse, sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, assault, so on and so forth. And so now we're seeing that millennials and Gen Z in particular are coming straight out the gate and realizing, what their power is, and realizing, that they're really realizing what their power is and what they can do. And I think that that's a really great thing. I think that's totally awesome of Gen Z. And I really do think it's really great that somebody of Jodie Foster's caliber from her generation, I believe Jodie might be either like a older Gen X or maybe like a young boomer. I don't know. I'd have to do that math, and I don't like math. But it's important, I think, to hear her say that, and it does feel like a little bit of like she's like, this is a PR opportunity for me to like fix it, because so she's like, oh, they do say something good, they do something good, so she recognizes that she wanted to clean up what she said before, because she did kind of trash the younger generation. That was the news. Moving forward, let's get into some hope to lift you up. All right. So one of the things that you can do if you want to learn more, let's say you're a boomer or Gen X or whatever, and you want to figure out how to maybe relate more, understand more about Gen Z and millennials, then maybe what you could do is check out some of these resources, right? So one of them would be the 2024 Gen Z and Millennial Survey. This is provided by Deloitte. You can go to just Deloitte.com and search the assets in the content section, or you can just Google this 2024 Gen Z Millennial Survey. But yeah, this survey is free. You can download it. You don't have to register or sign up for anything. And it has a lot of really interesting and good, useful information. This is like the 13th edition, annual edition of Deloitte's of this survey. They've had more than 22,000, so almost 23,000 respondents in 44 countries. So they really do get like a comprehensive view of what Gen Z and millennials are maybe thinking, how they're feeling, what their thoughts are in regards to work and career. For instance, here we see this on this page, respondents are cautiously optimistic about their economy, their respective economy, and their personal finances. Environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability drives career decisions and consumer behaviors. Purpose influences workplace satisfaction. We definitely see that a lot. Do Gen Z and millennial folks feel like the work that they're doing is actually contributing in some way to society, making things better? Work-life balance, flexibility remains paramount. It just does. We gotta have that. So yeah, this is a really good report. Like, there's 36 pages of it. Really well done, and like I said, it has a lot of things, right? Social economic outlook, purpose, environmental sustainability, Gen AI at work. Ooh, what's that going to be about? Work patterns and mental health, right? So this is a really good resource if you're just like looking for just like a jumping off point on how to maybe better relate to and inspire and encourage and get the best work out of your employees or teammates and colleagues if they're of the millennial and Gen Z generation. And again, this is not the end all be all. This is just one one tool, one resource that you could use. Obviously, talk to your coworkers, find out what they want, find out what they like. Talk to Gen Z and millennial folks in your own life if you have them. Right. And low key, even if you yourself are a millennial and Gen Z, right, there might be stuff in here that you might want to learn or might learn because, none of us are a monolith. We're all come from different places, different backgrounds. So there might be some information, even in a tool like in a resource like this Deloitte presentation, a report that you might find interesting that maybe you wouldn't realize if you're a Gen Z or millennial from whatever your part of the world is, your little corner of life. So yeah, great resource to check out. Of course, again, talk to Gen Zs and millennials and, other people if you want to actually find out what people are like, what they're like and what they're into, and how you can better relate to people. So yeah, check that out. All right, Ford Up Newsies. Well, that's all we have for today. But yeah, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know down in the comments what you think about this. Are you a Gen Z or millennial worker out in the workforce? What do you think about this? Do you have issues, or are you comfortable saying no in the workplace and setting those boundaries? Why or why not? Does this reflect you or your experience in the workplace? And if you're another generation, right? If you're Gen X, if you're a boomer, or even the greatest generation, who came up with that term? Do we get to just say that we're the most awesomest? I mean, and that's no shade. I'm just wondering. Anyway, if you're a different generation, right, let us know your thoughts down in the comments too. Like, does this make sense to you? Do you agree with it? Do you wish that you'd have been able to say no or set boundaries or whatever when you were younger in your career? And are you able to say no and set boundaries in your career today? Anyway, yeah, like I said, don't forget to share, like, subscribe. Really trying to grow the channel, trying to get these videos out more regularly. Y'all know I don't like being on camera, but it is what it is, trying new things or whatever. Anyway, yeah, if you have any questions or anything, don't forget to follow us on social media. So you can follow us on Twitter. It's @ForwardUpNews. And, email and all that stuff is all in the information in the chat or in the YouTube info. So anyway, until next time, be good to yourself, be kind to others, and if you can't do that, then shut the fuck up. All right, y'all. Peace.